Bitter criticism. Waiting for tonight. We are waiting for our spaceship. We are going home. Our flight is going home now. Um, and well, but by now we're going to read some news. Some news from the spaceship. News from the airport. Maybe 47 minutes. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I don't read news from Cgtn. See the difference. Cgtn, hope for the world. Cgtn, beautiful people. Politics. China top legislature concludes standing committee session. Politics. Chinese politics. 2 minutes reading is a regular news, not too big. China's top legislature concludes standing committee session. Zhao Leji, chairman of the NPC standing committee, presides over the closing meeting of the 13th session of the 14th NPC standing committee something. The standing committee of the 14th National People's Congress, NPC, concluded its 13th session in Beijing on Wednesday. At the closing meeting, lawmakers voted to adopt a law on value-added tax, a decision on amending the supervision law, and a revised science and technology popularization law. They adopt a decision on removing Wang Guangua from the post of Minister of Natural Resources and appointing Guan Xiu to the position. President Xi Jinping signed 4 presidential orders to promulgate the laws and the decisions. Zhao Leji, chairman of the NPC Standing Committee, presided over the closing meeting. The meeting decided to submit a draft amendment to the law on deputies to the National People's Congress and local people's congresses at all levels, to the third session of the 14th NPC for further deliberation, and entrusted Li Wangzong, vice chairman of the NPC Standing Committee, to make explanatory remarks to the NPC session. The meeting adopted a decision on convening the third session of the 14th NPC. According to the decision, the third session of the 14th NPC will open on March 5th, 2025. Lawmakers ratified an extradition treaty between China and Zimbabwe and another one between China and Suriname. Balu. They voted to adopt the name list of the members of the 6th-term Macau Special Administrative Region Basic Law Committee on the NPC Standing Committee. A lot of committees there in China. They also adopt a deputy qualification report and personnel-related bills. Xiao chaired a meeting on the Council of Chairpersons of the NPC Standing Committee before the closing meeting and presided over a lecture for lawmakers after the closing meeting. He also granted letters of appointment to members of the 6th-term Macau Special Administrative Region Basic Law Committee of the NPC Standing Committee. Sources Xinhua News Agency. And well, this dog is nervous. That's why he needs a massage. I guess it's kind of German Shepherd. As you can see, he's not absolutely black. He has the a beige face and a beige cloth pots as well. Anyway, Premier League, China-Japan relations at crucial stage of improvement. Who knows what happened with Japan and China? Politics, December 15, 25. I saw a very funny meme from social media. There was a crucified Santa Claus, a Chinese crucified Santa Claus. Chinese really don't get. I didn't get neither. That what's the message about Santa Claus and Jesus Christ. But anyway, so we have a photograph. Chinese Premier Li Qiang on the right meets with Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, China. Chinese Premier Li Qiang said China-Japan relations are at a crucial stage of improvement and development during a meeting with Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya in Beijing on Wednesday. China is willing to work with Japan to implement the important consensus reached by the leaders of the two countries, promote the sustained and healthy development of bilateral relations, and achieve more new results in pragmatic cooperation, Li told Iwaya at the Great Hall of the People in the Chinese capital, calling China and Japan, quote, close neighbors that cannot be moved away from each other. Li said the two countries have made a solemn commitment to being cooperative partners rather than threats to each other. Quote, it is hoped that Japan will work with China, abide by the principles laid down in the four China-Japan political documents, face history squarely, and look to the future, constructively manage differences and disputes, and take care of the big picture of China-Japan relations, Li said. He called on the two sides to expand economic and trade relations, deepen mutually beneficial cooperation, and further strengthen people-to-people exchanges. Iwaya said that Japan is willing to make joint efforts with China to strengthen exchanges at all levels, especially people-to-people exchanges, promote mutually beneficial cooperation, and improve public opinion toward each other, comprehensively advance strategic relations of mutual benefit, and build constructive and stable Japan-China relations. That was with input from Xinhua News. And that was the second. And this is the third news from top 5 from the highlights on Cgtn. China, December 25. China vows continued efforts to stabilize housing market in 2025. A commercial residential housing project in Qinzhou City, East China's Shandong province, December 16. China's Ministry of Housing and Urban-Rural Development has pledged to continue efforts to stabilize the real estate market and reserve its downturn in 2025. China will focus on unlocking housing demand by fully implementing a mix of policies to support people's needs for buying their first homes or improving their housing conditions, said a ministry official during a two-day national housing and urban-rural development work conference that ended Wednesday. China's property market has shown positive momentum this year, bolstered by a series of pro-housing measures, including reduction in mortgage rates, lower down payment requirements, relaxed purchase restrictions, and land use improvements and fiscal and tax policies. The official highlighted signs of recovery in the housing market, citing year-on-year and month-on-month increases in new home transactions in terms of floor area in October and November. The official noted that the ministry also plans to optimize the housing supply by strictly controlling the expansion of new commercial housing while improving the quality of homes to sustain this recovery. Greater efforts will also be made to expand the supply of affordable housing, offering more support to new urban residents, young people, and migrant workers to meet their housing needs. According to the official, China intends to intensify its support for urban village and dilapidated housing renovation projects next year, further expanding the scale of such projects. As part of efforts to establish a new development model for the real estate market, China will also focus on increasing the supply of improved housing, particularly high-quality homes. Meanwhile, reforms are being pursued for the commercial housing sale systems, shifting from the traditional pre-sale practice to the sale of completed new homes, the official said. Source Xinhua News Agency. The four now. The four. I'm reading all five, no matter what. Politics, December 25. China urges U.S. to drop negative China-related content in annual defense policy bill. We have a photograph of a view of the central business district in Beijing, China. China strongly urges the United States to abandon its Cold War mentality and ideological bias and to refrain from implementing the negative content related to China in the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, for fiscal year 2025. A spokesperson from China's top legislature said on Wednesday, noting that both houses of the U.S. Congress passed the NDAA for fiscal year 2025 and President Joe Biden signed it into law. Shu Dong, spokesperson for the Foreign Affairs Committee of the National People's Congress, NPC, expressed China's strong dissatisfaction with and firm opposition to the negative content targeting China. He criticizes the NDAA for repeatedly hyping up the China threat, advocating military support for Taiwan, suppressing China's scientific, technological, and economic development, restricting China-US economic trade and people-to-people exchanges, grossly interfering in China's internal affairs, and undermining China's sovereignty, security, and development interests. China has always handled its relations with the United States in accordance with the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation, and has always believed that the success of both countries presents an opportunity for each other, Xu said, adding that the two countries should be a boost for each other's development rather than an obstacle. The steady, sound, and sustainable development of China-US relations is not only vital to the two peoples, but also to the future and density of humanity, the spokesperson said, quote, "It is inevitable that China and the United States, as two major countries, will have some differences and disagreements, but they should not undermine each other's core interests, still less engage in conflict and confrontation, Xu said, adding that the Taiwan question, democracy and human rights, China's patent systems, and China's development right are red lines that cannot be challenged. Quote, we strongly urge the United States to abandon its Cold War mentality and ideological bias, not to implement the negative articles of the NDAA concerning China, and avoid repeating mistakes on issues concerning China's sovereignty and core interests. China will take resolute measures in accordance with the law to safeguard its sovereignty, security, and development interests, Xu said. Source Xinhua News Agency. And the last one. This is a subject I was neglecting because I'm ill. I still have a flu, as you can hear. The Middle East crisis, December 25. Hamas says new Israeli conditions delaying Gaza ceasefire agreement. Short news, 1 minute reading. We have a photograph of smoke rises in Israeli army construction equipment digs roads and damaged infrastructure during the Israeli raid on Balata. Hamas said on Wednesday Israel has set new conditions that have led to delays in reaching a Gaza ceasefire agreement, but acknowledged that negotiations were still proceeding and the movement has shown responsibility and flexibility. Quote, the ceasefire and prisoner exchange negotiations are continuing on Doha under the mediation of Qatar and Egypt in a serious manner, but the occupation has set new conditions concerning withdrawal of troops, the ceasefire prisoners, and the return of displaced people, which has delayed reaching an agreement, Hamas said in a statement. Israeli and Palestinian media reported that efforts led by Qatari, Egyptians, and US mediators have shown progress, though a breakthrough remains elusive. Israel has been conducting a large-scale offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip to retaliate against a Hamas attack on the southern Israeli border on October 7, 2023, during which about 1,200 people were killed and about 250 taken hostage. The Palestinian death toll from ongoing Israeli attacks in the Gaza Strip has risen to 45,361 people, almost 50,000. What about that? Gaza-based health authorities said in a statement on Wednesday, with input from agencies. And that's all. That was the top 5 from the highlights. I'm super ill. I'm still super ill. And the dog is lost.